So what an interesting first weekend in the Premier League. I mean, we've had loads happen in the transfer market. There's been some great games. Mosies Caicedo decided to snub Liverpool and go to Chelsea and make a lot of people, including myself, look like idiots. A lot of new signings showed why they were bought in for this big money. All three promoted sides did lose, so it means they want an upset. And big Norwegian lad Erling Haaland, he hasn't missed a beat since last season. So let's just get into it and round up these games. So quickly goes to the Friday night game, which was Burnley versus Man City at Turf Moor. Vincent Kompany facing, his old team, the master and apprentice or so. And despite the scoreline, I think people still got a good opinion of Burnley. I think they looked at them as a side that they're going to want to play out from the back. They're going to want to pass it about, and it could be to the positive, or it could be to the detriment, because I think Gary Neville said it on his podcast that if they can't outplay teams, it doesn't look like they're going to outrun teams. So at the bottom of the table, you might have to just grind some results out instead of knocking the ball about and playing pretty football. But I was impressed. I was really impressed with James Trafford in net. I think he was a great young keeper. I heard a lot about him in the Euros and at Bolton, and obviously he's been brought in for pretty big money from Man City this summer. But I think the main one was just how Erling Haaland, he's not going to be a one-season wonder, as most people didn't think he would be. But just take a look at that second goal when he just hit it first time to the top corner. And I think City, although they looked a bit rough around the edges, especially at the start, they look like they're just going to be near enough the same City again. Kevin De Bruyne going down with a bad injury is a tough one for them. But I think one of the stars of the show was Phil Foden. I mean, that one when he took it, backheeled it round himself, he did a bit of a 360 and he nearly scored. I think it just shows that he's one of the best players in the world and why he should be starting week in, week out. But I think Man City are going to be roundabout title contenders, as everyone would have thought. But Burnley, it's going to be a weird one. They're going to be an entertaining team to watch, and I think they'll get some good results against some lower teams and also take it to some bigger teams. But it's going to be an interesting season for Kompany. So to go to the 12:30 game on the Saturday, I saw Nottingham Forest travel up to Arsenal. Delayed about half an hour because there were some issues with the ticket gates or so. But it was a good game. I thought Arsenal really showed that they're going to be straight up there again this season and challenge for the title. I thought they were brilliant. I thought Odegaard was fantastic. I thought Saka was really good. I thought Thomas Partey was really good at right back in the first half. And I don't think they missed a beat. I think the scoreline did flatter Forest a bit. Although they had a few spells, start the first half, and I think the end of the second half, had a few attacks, but especially like Brennan Johnson chance in the first half, that could have put them 1-0 up. But Arsenal looked excellent. Declan Rice looked really good. He looked like he's been there for years. Kai Havertz looked a bit, he needed to fit in a bit. I think it's going to take him a time to just get into the Arteta system. And obviously Martinelli with that little spin, I don't know if he meant it, but he's going to claim he is. And Arsenal defence looked solid. I think that's unfortunate with Timber because it didn't look great. It looked a bad injury, didn't it? So, is that the depth of the defence? That was the main downfall last season. But I think Arsenal, again, are going to be right up there with Manchester City this season. So we'll just quickly go through the 3:00 games. I think probably the biggest one was Brighton beating Luton 4-1, even though the 2 goals were scored quite late. But I think Brighton, maybe my prediction of them 9th might not go down too well because I think they did look really good against Luton. I think Luton just don't look like they have the quality probably to stay up this season. But now that Brighton have brought in João Pedro, I thought Matoma was brilliant. I thought Evan Ferguson looked fantastic when he was on. And great goal at the end. But I think Brighton are looking really good this season. Everton lost to Fulham. I think they missed so many chances from the highlights I saw. Calvert-Lewin's up front for them. They are probably winning that game because I think it was, don't want to go too much into stats, but I think it was the most XG without scoring a goal since XG has been around. So it's one of those, I think it's a positive for them that they are creating chances, but they're going to need to bury them if they even want to stay up or at least make a mid-table push this season. You've got Bournemouth versus West Ham at 1-1. Good to see Dom Solanke carrying on his form, and I think once West Ham kind of get, Alvarez, they've just signed James Ward-Prowse. I think they have signed Maguire, haven't they? So I think they're going to get those new lads integrated into the squad, and I think they'll hit the ground running. I think they'll really add to West Ham's depth because I'm a big fan of Jarrod Bowen, and he got his goal Saturday, And I think they've got a really underrated team. I think just because Declan Rice is gone doesn't mean, they've still got some really good players there. Then you have Palace travelling up to Yorkshire to play Sheffield United. I think is a tough one for new boys, like say all free promote teams did lose. I think it's a really good result. Palace away at Sheffield United is a tough place to go, and these are the results they're going to need to probably stay up this season, because are they going to push for a top 10 finish or so? I've heard Elise might be going to Chelsea. I believe it when I see it, because they've just got into a saga with Caicedo, and they've also trying to get Lavia, so maybe Elise might be less of a priority at the moment. But if they can keep on to Elise, Edouard got on the scored sheet, and I think if they can get Edouard going, I think he could be a really good strike for them and help keep them up. And Eze, I thought he looked fantastic. From the highlights I saw, he looked excellent, and be surprised if he's there next season, because he needs to be playing Champions League, or if not Europa League football. But yeah, that's all the 3 o'clock kickoffs. We've got Aston Villa travelling up to Newcastle, 5-1. Tough one, because in the first half it looked quite competitive, maybe until Tyrone Mings went off with that bad ACL injury. But few takeaways from the game. I thought, one for Villa, I thought Diaby looked really promising. He got his goal and he looked quite good in the first half an hour or so. But I think for Newcastle, it's that Swedish lad up front, isn't it? It's Alexander Isak, and he looks like he could maybe challenge for that top scorer spot this year. He got 2, he probably should have got at least a hat-trick. He got taken off about, I think it's like the 67th minutes, because he's in my fantasy team, but I thought he looked fantastic, and it just shows that maybe I was wrong about Newcastle. Maybe they can challenge for top 4 again, because they do have the depth. They do have Callum Wilson and Harvey Barnes coming off the bench, and Harvey Barnes got a goal and assist in 20 minutes. I think he looked fantastic again. Callum Wilson got his goal. I think if they can rotate Wilson and Isaac, they'll constantly have a 15, 20 goal a season striker starting for them. Defence, it just hasn't got the depth. I mean, they've obviously got Livramento, but they look solid. They only conceded 1 goal, and I think it could be a good season. Obviously early, but Newcastle hit the ground running yesterday, didn't they? Saturday, sorry. But that was all the Saturday games. And we had 2 games on Sunday, and the first one was Brentford versus Tottenham. It was Postecoglou's first Premier League game, and I watched the game, and it was a tough watch in the first 15 minutes, because Spurs looked like they wanted to attack, but they couldn't string a pass together, and it was a real chaotic start for them. But I think they found the footing into the game. Kulusevski, I think he's excellent, but he did struggle against Rico Henry, just maybe because he's so quick, and I thought he had an excellent game. Richarlison, I don't think he really did much up top, and Son, he had his spells or so. Thought Basuma played really well in midfield, and yeah, it was a really exciting game. I think Postecoglou looked his style of play was really exciting, and I thought Brentford looked pretty solid, especially in the second half. They barely let Spurs have a shot, as they were just piling on the pressure. But Bueno looked good, I thought Vissel looked good, I thought Aaron Hickey, I believe he looked really good, I thought Rico Henry was excellent coming down that left-hand side. So Brentford, good signs at the beginning, and if they can take it into the season, just the intensity they played at yesterday, then I think maybe top 10, top 8 finish for them. And I think Spurs, they're just going to be an exciting team this season. I think they want to attack, which is just exciting. I think a lot of Spurs fans are probably wanting that after Conte and Mourinho, a bit of that Nuno era, where they were just defending and maybe waiting for a break, or just boring football, the 2 holding centre mids. But with this Postecoglou system, maybe it's going to be a bit more exciting. They might ship quite a few goals, but again, I think they're going to score quite a few, and I think it's going to benefit the 2 wingers, mainly Son and Kulusevski. I think they're going to have a good season this year. And then you had the headline game of the weekend. It was Chelsea versus Liverpool at Stamford Bridge. There was a lot of news circulating this game, because it was Mosies Caicedo, who's he going to choose? Klopp has said the deal has been agreed, which was true. He didn't say Caicedo has decided to join, but Caicedo in the end decided to join Chelsea on 8-9 year deal. That's taken him to 2031 with an option for another year, which is just mind-blowing. But if that's how they want to do business, then all power to them. I thought it was a good game. For Liverpool started really well. For Szoboszlai and McAllister looked really good in that centre mid role. It was nice to see that they can take the ball in the half turn, and It's just nice for a midfielder to offer a bit of an attacking threat for Liverpool. Salah, I thought he had a good first half. He faded in the second half, and I thought that was Diaz as well. So, to be honest, mainly the Liverpool team in the first half I thought were quite good, and then second half it didn't look great for them maybe. But I think Chelsea looked promising. I think they had a lot of good young players, but Conor Gallagher, Enzo Fernandez played really well. Reece James before he got taken off injured, and Ben Chilwell. I mean, they're arguably the best fullbacks in the country if they can stay fit. I think that's just a question mark around them. For Thiago Silva, for a 39-year-old, is just unbelievable. He reads the game so well. And for Nicholas Jackson, if he can stay fit, I think it could be a really good. Chelsea need a strike for years, haven't they? And I think he could be that man if he stays fit, because he went down a few times. It still baffles me how it's not a handball for the corner with Nicholas Jackson, but VAR said it wasn't, so I guess it wasn't. But it was an entertaining one more, and I think both teams are going to be in and around the top four race, with maybe pushing. I can't really see either pushing for the title. Maybe if Chelsea with Caicedo this year, but realistically, I think it'll be probably pushing each other for the top four. But both really entertaining teams and a good attacking game. So yeah, it was a good watch. And obviously tonight, this is recorded before the Man United Wolves game, so I'll be excited to watch that, see how Mason Mount performed. I think Højlund's out, so he won't be playing, but I think it's going to be pretty much a turkey shoot for Man United. I think they're going to batter Wolves. I know they've always been a bit of a bogey team for them, but I think now with no manager, sold quite a lot of the players, and the club just seems a bit dysfunctional at the moment. I think it's going to be quite an easy one for Man United. So it'll be interesting to see. Other news are obviously the Caicedo thing. I think that was a big hit for Liverpool, and now Lavia, apparently a 60 million fee has been agreed, which baffles the mind. I don't, how can you be bargaining over 45 million when then you overplay your hand for a player who doesn't want to join you, and then you pay 60 million for someone you could have got for 10 million less a week ago. But if that's how Liverpool want to do the business, then again, all power to them. I think it's probably a mistake, and it's been a bad window for them if that is how it goes. But Chelsea could still take him. Obviously, one of the biggest transfers of the year, which has been overshadowed, is Harry Kane to Bayern Munich. I think it happened on the same day as Caicedo, so it didn't get much attention. But he played his first game for Bayern Munich on Saturday night. They lost 3-0 to Leipzig in the, can't remember what the name is, but it's the Germany Community Shield basically. And yeah, I think he's going to do well for them. He's probably going to win the Bundesliga. And it'll be exciting to see him in the Champions League, see if he can challenge it. I mean, get this monkey off his back and this Twitter narrative that he's not a winner, because he's obviously a winning player. He just hasn't won anything. And I think there is a big disparity between the two. But yeah, we'll have to see how it turns out. And other news, James Ward-Prowse has signed for West Ham. Jack Harrison's gone to Everton. So just a few lower team signings. And I think there's going to be a big deadline day in a couple of weeks, because some big teams still haven't made probably the signs that they want. Man City are going back for a bid with Paqueta, I believe. Don't know where that's come from. I think they rejected about 70 million for him, which is just, I think he'd do really well at Man City, because I think most players would. But yeah, it just came out of left field really. But yeah, we'll see next weekend, see how it goes, see how these new signings can fit in. Be interested to see Højlund play for Man United in a couple of weeks. Hopefully Gvardiol plays for Man City. Be interested to see what he's like. And yeah, if you like this video, if you could like and subscribe, comment how do you feel the weekend went for your team, and see you next time.